A very good evening to you from wherever you're watching from on this Wednesday, the 8th of August, 2018. It's time for every primetime news with yours truly, Nina Shaban, and our sign language interpreter, Joyce Y. Raymond. Now, we have quite a number of stories lined up for you this night, and we will be having an interview with Budalangi Member of Parliament Raphael Wanjala just to take a look at the different probes that have been going on in Martyrs graft, corruption, and the latest being the proposal that has been put up with 96 signatures from the Member of Parliament and Kimilili Member of Parliament. This is Didymus Baraza. We just get to hear his sentiments as a Member of Parliament and also listen to the way forward. As I said, my name is Nina Shaban. I hope you are ready for our 1 hour bulletin. But first things first, let's take a look at the headlines. Parliament fails to debate on contraband sugar probe.
The House on Wednesday last week, there has been a bit of issue surrounding alterations, as you are already aware. That issue was sorted.
Former Nairobi Governor Evans Kidero has been arrested by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission over graft allegations. ANC party leader Musalia Mudavadi insists that the opposition is still in existence.
It has been, it's beginning to grow. Watu wanasema, wewe uko upande gani? Akisikia uko opposition anasema, oh, you're not patriotic. My friend, why was the constitution created?
For Tinsley, who is in a wonderful...
And in sports, former 400 meters hurdles world champion Nicholas Bett has died in a road accident in La Source, Nandi County. All right, now the Parliament has once again failed to debate on the report about the contraband sugar, a report compiled by the Parliamentary Joint Committee of Agriculture and Trade and Industry. This comes even as Homa Bay County Women Representative Gladys Wanga plans to move a motion on the inquiry into alleged importation of the contraband sugar in the country. Now, our reporter Jeff Heimber with more details.
The sugar probe has created a rift inside the Joint Parliamentary Committee on Agriculture and Trade and Industry, the committee investigating the scope of the sugar scandal. The report, which was expected to be debated today in Parliament, hit a dead end following the reports of further amendments.
The report was laid in front of the House on Wednesday last week. There has been a bit of issue surrounding alterations, as you are already aware. That issue was sorted. And this report is now due any time in front of the floor of the House.
Sugar, the persons who own the sugar that has been found with mercury and other heavy metals, as has been enumerated in the report, those persons should not just, it should not just be an investigation.
So far, up to 20 amendments have been made in the sugar report. Amid the report, there are section of the members of Parliament are plotting to dismiss it.
There's the original report. Then now we hear of another report that has been altered. So we are wondering, what kind of report are we going to receive in Parliament? So even if this report came, I think it will just be shut down.
We cannot be a house where we make reports, we sign resolutions, and then somebody somewhere alters them.
The House has a right to do whatever it pleases with the report, either to do amendment, one amendment or another, or to totally reject it. That is
the recommendations of the report want the Treasury CS and Rotich to be held responsible for the excess importation of the sugar into the country and the consequent tax evasion. According to the original report, the committee wants the former agriculture CS Willie Bed to be held responsible for recommending the waiver of a duty for the 14 companies which imported the sugar into the country. The members of Parliament also wanted the immediate former Trade CS Eden Mohammed held responsible for failure to undertake adequate market surveillance to guarantee the safety and quality of sugar in the country.
I think members who are saying the report should be thrown out should understand that this is a report. 38 members of Parliament have sat for almost 2 months on public resources doing this work. You know, because my own view is those who are saying throughout the report probably are not happy with some of the people who have been indicted by that report.
How would he allow sugar to come in and kill our factories? How would he rush to give out money, because we have infamous, to give out money to buy the land that belongs to the government.
The Joint Committee has finalized its work and that it is now upon the House to decide what to do with the 62-page document. The team was also split over the claims that the original copy was doctored in an attempt to protect the two CS. Gladys Wanga, the Uma representative, has now moved a motion to tighten the report from being altered.
But the amendments we are moving is to tighten the noose a bit further. Instead of saying that these people should be investigated, I feel there's nothing more to be investigated. The committee has already done their investigations. They found where the loopholes are. So action should be taken.
Any other member is at liberty to bring amendment that will be debated at the floor of the House. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm not aware of any major changes to this document.
The reports on the contaminated sugar have generated into a veritable Tower of Babel, with everybody protecting their bags. It is a sweet but poisonous sugar that has now turned into a political debate in the National Assembly, where the members of the Joint Committee of Agriculture and that of Trade and Industry do not agree about the recommendations implicating 3 senior government officials. What remains is whether indeed a common mwananchi will have to find justice at the end of the day. Reporting for Ebro TV from Parliament Buildings, Nairobi, I'm Jeff Khaemba.
All right, thank you very much, Jeff Iamber, from the Parliament building, reporting for us earlier this day. Now, former Nairobi Governor Evans Kidero has been arrested by detectives from the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission over graft allegations. Kidero was today arrested alongside 7 other members. Kidero was arrested this afternoon and driven to Integrity Center, where tomorrow he will be taken to court, and he was under investigation over mismanagement of funds at the county when he served as governor, following the reports ESCC embarked on investigations which unearthed a series of offences against the following persons that will be shown in the on the screen. Now, I'd like us to quickly join my colleague Eric Munene, who is at the ESCC, to bring us up to speed on what exactly is going on. Eric, a very good evening to you. Kindly bring us up to speed.
Well, a very good evening to you, Nina Shaban. This is what we know so far. Former Nairobi Governor Evans Kidero was arrested late in the afternoon, so he's already spent like 4 hours being grilled by ESCC detectives. And you will recall that the commission has been deemed to have taken a backseat in some of the latest high-profile cases that have been, tackled by other agencies apart from it. And that's the reason why the CEO of the commission, that's Halake Wako, sent a press statement saying that he had commenced investigations into some high-profile individuals, and he had presented his report to the Director of Public Prosecutions, who gave him a go-ahead to, instruct his officers to bring some of those who have been mentioned to book, and Kidero happens to be one of them. He's been arrested by the ESCC detectives together with some of his, people who worked with him in his administration. That's what we know so far. Something else we know is that earlier on I spoke to one of his lawyers, that's Paul Mboya, who expressed his, pleasure. He said that it was a good thing that they were arresting him on a Wednesday, because there was a trend that had started forming, and it was claimed that the multi-agency that is tackling corruption had started arresting graft suspects on Fridays. So it was on a lighter note anyway. Apollo Mboya told me that it's a good thing that is on a Wednesday. So we expect him to be presented before the Anti-Corruption Court tomorrow. Yeah.
Confirm for us, Eric, how many people has he been arrested with? Because with the information that we have, it's former Governor Evans Kidero with 7 others. Can we confirm that?
Yes, I can confirm that he has, there are people who've been arrested together with him, people who worked in his administration, but I can't confirm that all the 7 are here before the ESCC. But what I know is that Halake Wako, the CEO of the commission, had presented a report to the Director of Public Prosecution, and he gave him a go-ahead to arrest the 7 others. Actually, the 8 others, together with Kidero, those are 9, and directors of other companies, 2 companies that were mentioned in that report. But so far, the only high-profile figure we've seen so far here is that of the former governor of Nairobi, Evans Kidero. That one I can confirm.
can confirm that, and thank you very much. But before you leave, it will only be fair to our viewers if we give them a small highlight of the reasons why Governor Kidero former Governor Kidero has been arrested and is now at the ESCC. Can you just kindly give us a highlight, because there's so many different speculations and rumors. So just to kill the assumptions, bring us up to speed on that.
Well, according to this press statement that is already out there on the public domain, is that Kidero has been arrested and will be charged. He will be facing charges on money laundering and abuse of public office. The Director of Public Prosecutions, after the Director of Public Prosecutions, I beg your pardon, gave Halake Wako the go-ahead to arrest the said individuals, all the charges that had been listed on the charge sheet, I must say, have not been indicated on the press statement, but we'll be following that, getting to know what exactly that Kidero will be charged with and what the other 9 or the other 8 will be charged with. But so far I can just say Kidero, because he was a public officer before the last general elections, he will be facing charges on abuse of public office. The others, of course, will be facing charges on money laundering and, other charges that we'll confirm to you later.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Eric. This is a story that is definitely still developing, and we'll be having more information tomorrow. Just keep it Ebru TV News for that. Now, very quickly, I want us to delve into the interview of the night, and it's surprisingly all matters graft. And thankfully, we have a Budalangi Member of Parliament, Mr. Raphael Wanjala, with us. Now, before we get good evening, first of all. Sir.
Good evening to you.
Thank you so much, Mayor Shimura, for joining us and gracing us with your presence. Now, before we get into matters graft, and our main topic of discussion tonight will be looking at the Cabinet Secretary of Treasury, Henry Rotich's situation. But before we get there, I would like to hear your sentiments on ex-Governor Evans Kidero's arrest.
Well, personally, I'm very happy the way the way the country is moving.
All right.
Because corruption has been our bedeviling in this country. Corruption has denied the youths who have finished school, they are not getting any employment because of corruption. The corruption has collapsed most of our factories, have collapsed. And we even believed sometimes governors misused their powers, and we said that corruption has equally been devolved to counties. So I think where there is evidence, let them prosecute. But I hope it will not be a witch hunt also. But Kidero has always been suspected of corruption. So I think whatever happens, let him prove that he actually did not participate in that corruption.
All right. Okay, and as I said earlier, this is a story that we'll be following up on. Maybe we'll catch up with you later on and we get to see where you stand. Now, moving into our main topic of today, which is the impeachment of Cabinet Secretary of Treasury, Mr. Henry Rotich. What is, for the benefit of our viewers, and according to your understanding, from your perspective, I'd like you to give us the background of this impeachment motion that has already started receiving signatures.
Well, in most of the current scandals we hear of, Rotich name features, and especially him being the Minister for Finance, the Cabinet Secretary for Finance. His name is featuring all the time. Look at the land they are talking about of 1.5 billion. Who released that money? It is the same Rotich. The other day, the scanner for the hospital that costs 40 million, he buys it at 260 million. Now, he knows we have sugar in the factories in Kenya. And he knows the president has his agenda 4. And among the agenda 4, there is manufacturing. And where sugar is under manufacturing. Now, the factories are collapsing, even as we are talking Zoya. It's not operational. So, and then he goes on to import sugar that will take this country 3 years. And not only importing that, clearing the sugar to be imported through a Kenya Gazette, They go further, even bring contaminated sugar with mercury, poisonous. So these are the people who are not supposed to sit in that office. And it is not only Rotich. They should even bring back Bet. Yes, because he was also the Minister for Agriculture. He must tell us what he knows. Now, people like Rai, who are the businessmen, the Joint Parliamentary Committee went up to Ebuye. They found sugar. They saw the sugar. It was written on not for sale. It was examined right there, and it proved it had mercury. These are people who are supposed to be behind bars by now.
Okay, Mheshimiwa, you've mentioned even Willibet, and clearly there's a lot of the different parties that are involved when it comes to matters of graft and corruption. So how is it that this is not a witch hunt? There's an argument out there that this might be a witch hunt. How can you argue against that?
You know, if we were talking of that is a witch hunt, and yet there was no sugar imported, then that would be a witch hunt. But there is sugar that was over-imported. There is sugar, in fact, almost all of it is contaminated. Yet we have CAPS that is supposed to examine whether the sugar that comes in is fit for human consumption. There's no witch hunt, because what we are talking about are practical things that each one of us is seeing. And
this is justice that we're going to be facing. I mean, we want justice from the situation with Henry Rotich as the CS. Is this the same thing that we are set to see as electorates who voted for you as members of parliament? Are you going to actually act this out when it comes to each and every graft situation?
Of course, yes. And that is the way the government is supposed to work. It should not discriminate. It should not apply it selectively. Each person who commits an offense should be held responsible.
And then there's another argument, Mheshimiwa, that the parliament, the sugar report that was submitted before the parliament was doctored. What is your stand on this?
Oh, yeah, it has come from other members of parliament that some of the areas of the report were actually interfered with. But where it is today, because where it is today, it is now before the parliament. Now it is out of the hands of the members of that committee. But still, all those members of that committee had signed on that report. So anybody with any new amendment, members of parliament can only do it in the House during debating time. That's the only time. But it should not be among the members who actually signed, who participated in that report. So if it was doctored, then that's the most unfortunate thing. And we are also waiting for them to tell us in the House how it was doctored and to prove.
And give evidence.
Evidence. And that will be the worst thing that will have happened to Parliament.
Ever. All right. Now, questions have been raised in the corridors of Parliament on whether the push was legitimate, of course. This is not the first time that such a motion is being brought before Parliament. If you can remember, there's a story on Anne Waiguru versus the Nandi Hill MP, Africa Tower, that was dismissed by the Speaker. What and how can you prove that this one is not more of the legislators seeking ploy?
Well, I also want to caution my fellow legislators that when they come up with the motions, we want them to prosecute those motions to the end. Because they make us sign motions and all of a sudden you find it has been withdrawn, they are not ready to prosecute. Then that leaves a lot of questions lingering in our minds. So actually, I believe that I hope Didymus will not go to that level. We want him to prosecute this case. Whether he wins it on the floor of the House or loses, but let him fight it to the end. Okay. And I believe that he will go up to the end. Because we saw what happened with the Cabinet Secretary for Health. They said they were going to impeach just all of a sudden we hear
It was just a word of mouth.
yeah, a word of mouth, and yet they made people to sign the documents.
Yeah.
So that also leaves us to doubt some of the characters of our members of parliament. Because once, as a leader, you have made a decision and made an announcement, then you must follow it to the end.
All right. And just moving away from the parliament, I'd like to hear your sentiments on the different independent bodies that conduct investigations, the EACC, the DPP, the DCI, and how they have been working of late, handing over the investigations and giving the results back to even the judiciary. Is this something that Kenyans should be confident about? Is this something that we're going to see be the end of corruption? Does this mean, is this the opening to the door of curbing corruption?
Actually, we have been let down by EACC. Whatever is happening today is happening courtesy of the decision by the president and to tell the director of criminal investigation to take over these things and handle the corruption cases. But EACC has been a letdown because actually it is EACC that is mandated to deal with the issues of corruption. But corruption is going on and they are doing nothing. If you report to them, it's as if you have told them that now here is money. You will never hear of anything. They will just go round in circle. Even before, and I think this time, the president has made a decision because he doesn't want to run again and he wants to leave a legacy in this country. Yes. So I believe in him that he's going to do this and to fight corruption to the end. But his first term, he was let down by these institutions, especially the EACC, until he was helpless. But you know now, he could not go to such level also because he was going to face another election. But now he's facing no election. I think let him go like that. Nobody steals on behalf of his community. You are stealing on your own behalf.
All right. And I can't let you step out of our studio without me asking, there's been a lot of corruption and the scandals come out into the public of late. And this is, of course, after the famous handshake that occurred between the president and former Prime Minister Raila Amolo Odinga. Would you say that all this, the corruption and the fact that we're seeing all these cases being brought up to speed is because of the famous handshake? Did this assist in any way?
It did, because those are some of the things that they agreed on, that Uhuru is not going to face any election again. And he has to leave a legacy. And corruption had escalated. It was going to ruin his legacy. So he has to fight it. And indeed, Uhuru now got the support. Because now when Uhuru is there and Raila is there, then the whole country is behind them. So no, whether you complain or not, Kenyans have given the mandate that fight corruption. And they have to fight that corruption for the betterment of this country.
Okay, and as the two leaders of this country, the two main leaders of this country, here they are. Kenyans have given them a mandate, as you've said, to fight corruption. And here they are trying their best to fight corruption. As a member of parliament, what are you and your counterparts doing about Martyr's corruption? How are you helping, or how are you making sure that the taxpayer who voted you into power gets justice when it comes to Martyr's corruption?
That is, you can see how many motions today, investigative motions, investigative issues that the committees of parliament are handling today. There are so many. You can see even the motions that are brought to remove some of the corrupt cabinet secretaries. Members are in support of the government fighting corruptions, because it also affects them directly. When there is no corruption, they will even, the constituencies will develop, the country will develop. Those who are looking for jobs, the youths will get jobs, because jobs will be created. Many factories will come in, and development will be there for everybody.
All right. And quickly, in a case like for the former governor, Evans Kidero Heshimiwa, once found guilty, what are we set to see as taxpayers? How will that benefit the taxpayer?
It's not only finding you guilty. We want you to return the money you took.
There you go.
Back to the taxpayers.
Is this that's what most taxpayers want to hear?
Yes.
Is this possible with all this?
It is possible.
With all the graft stories that we had, backdating it back to NYS Season 1 and NYS Season 2. Is the taxpayer going to see their money come back?
It is possible because these people have investments. So we have an act that allows them to go for the investments of these people, follow them, close their accounts and so on. So actually the government can do it.
It can do it.
Yes, and recover the stolen money.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
But the only thing we are asking, let it not be done selectively. And let there be no witch hunting.
Okay. Witch hunt is the word that has been going around of late. Thank you so much, Mheshimiwa. We do appreciate you coming down to our studios this very serious night. I do understand you must be having a lot going on, but you did give us your time, and we appreciate that. That was the Member of Parliament of Bundalangi, Mr. Raphael Wanjali, just here to give us his insight on matters of corruption and graft. And of course, he also gave us his sentiments when it comes to the former governor, Dr. Evans Kidero, who was arrested this afternoon. It is a developing story that we are going to be taking a look at. Now, let's take a very quick break, and we shall be back with more news.